Hello, crafters and artisans, and welcome back to Psychedelic Squid Fiber Arts. Today, I'm going to show you how to replace the carding cloth on old hand carders. Here are some old hand carders I found locally. You can see the rusted tines and that the carding cloth is disintegrating. Luckily, this is held in place with simple nails. So, using my mini pry bar, I'm going to use the flatter edge underneath the cloth in between the nails to pry the material up. Here's the carders with the cloth removed. You can see all the dark spots where the nails were. These were extremely dirty, so they'll need to be cleaned. To measure the new carding cloth, I'm measuring the full head of the carders, so 10 3/8 inch and 4 1/4 inch. I'll have to trace that out onto my carding cloth. Make sure you get replacement carding cloth and not blending cloth, as there is a difference. Apparently, carding cloth has shorter teeth and a closed tooth pattern with a more aggressive tip. I got this at a discounted price because it was considered a remnant. It is 72 teeth per inch, and it's perfect for cotton carders. Then I'm going to trace my lines out on the back side of the carding cloth. Be careful not to push down onto the teeth too hard when doing this, otherwise you can push them out and through the back of the cloth. Then, to cut the cloth, I originally tried some heavy-duty scissors, but those did not work well, so I ended up using a utility knife like this one and breaking off the blade after each cut to get a nice clean line. I was able to cut easily where there were no teeth, but this line here has several in the way, so I'm going to have to remove those before I can cut it. To do this, you can use needle nose pliers, but I found that a small flathead screwdriver worked perfectly for prying these up. Please be careful while doing this, as the teeth can go flying sometimes. There might be a faster way to do this, but this is how I'm doing it. I'm going to finish this off screen and get to the next part. Now, I can see where the old section of cloth kept its teeth, so I'm going to measure that area and try to match it with the new cloth, although this isn't strictly necessary. So, I have 9 1/4 inch here and 3 inches this way. So, that averages out to about a 1/2 inch border of D-tooth cloth. So, on the back side of the cloth, I'm going to measure out my 1/2 inch border and remove all the teeth that are outside the line or touching. So I discovered a little technique to remove the teeth without issue, and that is to use a small flathead screwdriver and pull the teeth up and then against the direction the teeth are facing. I was able to speed the process up significantly by doing it this way. Again, be careful where you do this, as you might end up with a few hundred teeth scattered around, and they are sharp. This is only about half of what I removed. The other half is on my workshop floor. Here is the edge with the teeth removed, and I've done that for both carders. Now, to install the cloth, I'm going to use staples, but I need to make sure I get the correct length. To do this, measure the carder at the thinnest point. Mine is 1/4 inch thick, so I got 1/4 inch long staples that are 6 millimeters, which are good for fabric. If I could, I would have gone up to a 3/8 inch long staple, but due to how thin the wood is, I had to stick to 1/4 inch. This is a staple gun I'm using. I cleaned and oiled my carders because they are extremely dry, and here is the result. They look great, so now to add the carding cloth. Make sure that the teeth point towards the handle. I'm going to focus on centering the teeth and not necessarily the fabric. I'm going to start at the center of the long edge and work my way outward towards the short edge. To be perfectly honest, I'm not 100% happy with the spacing on my staples, but regardless, it'll work just fine. Some of my staples didn't seat all the way because of the angle I had the head of the staple gun at. So I'm going to use a flat rounded punch and a hammer to push them flush. Be sure to support the carder so you don't damage the handle connection. Now I'm going to trim the excess cloth. I'm going to measure out straight lines halfway between the start of the teeth and the carder's edge. You don't want to go too close to the staples. Again, to cut these, I used my utility knife and used a fresh blade for each cut. You'll want to try to cut entirely through the cloth on the first pass, otherwise your edges will look a bit more frayed, as you can see here where I had to do a second pass. And there you go, a complete replacement of the carding cloth. Again, these are 72 teeth per inch, but you can choose whatever tooth density you need for your fiber. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments section below, and feel free to visit my Facebook page or Instagram to ask clarifying questions or about things I haven't covered yet. Thank you all so much for exploring the depths of your creativity with me, and I'll see you next time.